A school dinner lady suspended after telling a parent his daughter was being bullied will find out on Monday if she'll be sacked. Carol Hill works at Great Tey Primary School in Essex. Today she's been before a disciplinary hearing.
Supported by friends arriving at her disciplinary hearing, Carol Hill was clearly nervous. She was suspended after telling the parents of 7-year-old Chloe David how sorry she was after she'd been tied to a fence and whipped with a skipping rope in the school playground. Chloe's father says he's now withdrawn both her and her brother from the school.
We've been at the school 9 years. Our oldest son is now at secondary school. We thought we had a good relationship with the school, and we discussed it. We can't believe that someone can actually do this to us, when we thought that things were so good with the school. It sort of broke down overnight, literally.
The letter sent to Chloe's parents merely said she'd been hurt with a skipping rope. However, the internal records kept by the school, which Mr. David eventually obtained, showed she'd been tied up and hit by other pupils.
Carol is a midday assistant at the school. She's also a registered first aider that is registered as the dinner time first aider. One of the policies in there says that you must inform the parents, so not to do so should have probably been breaking policy.
After being suspended at the end of June, it's taken nearly 3 months for Carol Hill to have her disciplinary hearing. To date, she faced a panel of school governors.
It's been a big strain over the 6 weeks holiday, trying to forget what was happening, finding out what was going to happen to Mrs. Hill, that she was going to be made a scapegoat, I feel.
And tonight there's still no word from the school or the head teacher. Carol Hill wasn't able to talk to the media today. She's been told she'll find out officially on Monday if she's been dismissed. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East, Colchester.
There's been a slight rise in the number of suspected swine flu cases in the east of England this week, but NHS experts say it's too early to say if it signals the start of a second wave of the disease. 3,700 people have been given antiviral drugs this week and 10 people are in hospital.
The world's biggest offshore wind farm, which is being built off the coast of Suffolk, has run into problems. The Greater Gabbard wind farm is being constructed 16 miles out to sea and will have 140 turbines. But technical problems have emerged. Our business correspondent Richard Bond is at Sizewell now.
Well, this is the main construction site for Greater Gabbard, and it's where the electricity that's generated offshore will be brought onshore and connected to the national grid, not far, as you can see, from a certain nuclear power station. Now, engineers have been busy installing the foundations for the wind farm on the seabed, but the project's not been without problems. The East Coast is forecast to become the UK leader for wind power, but technical hitches keep getting in the way. The latest affects the biggest scheme. Greater Gabbard is a £1.3 billion project off the Suffolk coast. With 140 turbines, it would generate enough electricity to supply every home in Suffolk. Construction has begun, based from this site in Sizewell. The first foundations have been installed in the seabed. Each wind turbine has a foundation or monopile, a tower, a gearbox and blades. But some of the steel monopiles delivered on site have been found to be faulty. The monopiles were made in China. It's possible they were manufacturing errors, or they could have been damaged in transit. The developer, Airtricity, said a number of the monopiles are subject to a process of quality assurance to ensure they are suitable to go into the seabed. The Greater Gabbard project remains on schedule for completion in 2012.
The government has made commitments to the percentage of power which comes from renewables, which at the moment we don't look like meeting at all. And if Great Gabbard doesn't come on stream, we certainly won't meet it.
There are plans for a series of wind farms around our coast. The first one constructed, Scroby Sands off Yarmouth, suffered technical problems too. As the government's flagship offshore wind farm, much depends on Greater Gabbard being completed on time. Well, the foundations may have been made in China, but the other major components won't be. The towers, the blades, they'll be made in Germany by Siemens.
Richard, thank you. Details of a public inquiry into the dueling of the A11 through Elvedon in Suffolk will be made public later this month. Work on the road between Barton Mills and Thetford is due to start late next year, but there have been objections which need to be heard at an inquiry.
One of the country's most popular local radio presenters has left his long-running afternoon show. Roy Waller has been on BBC Radio Norfolk's airwaves since the 1980s. He'll continue to present his Saturday country music show, Rodeo Norfolk.
That's James Blunt.
This is Roy Waller's last weekday show.
I've been joined by, well, everybody, it seems, in BBC Radio Norfolk.
He's coming off afternoons, but not off the airwaves.
Overall, I've certainly enjoyed my stay, and the afternoons have been rather special. And I've got up to all sorts of things. Some have got me into trouble, but mostly it's been fun.
Roy Waller started his broadcasting career with the BBC in the 1980s. He's helped good causes, worn pantomime costumes, even been gunged on Noel's house party, and served the city as the Sheriff of Norwich.
Come on, Norwich, sing up!
For years he was the voice of Radio Norfolk's football coverage. He's built up a strong following and the famous catchphrase, "What's for tea, mother?"
That all came about where there was a young boy talking to me on the radio, and I heard somebody move in the background. I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Mother." And it just came in my mind. I just said, "What's for tea, Mother?" And she said, "Sausages."
He has plans to retire next year.
And for me, Roy Waller, good night. God bless.
As he left the studio, he was given a Radio Guard of Honour. It may be his last afternoon show, but he'll continue to present on Saturdays. Debbie Tubby, BBC Look East, Norfolk.